The storm had cleared only an hour ago, but the sky still looked bruised. Soft streaks of sunlight broke through the gray clouds, reflecting off the rain-soaked streets as parents hurried into the elementary school. Among them was Ethan Vale, a 35-year-old mechanic in a faded denim jacket, clutching his daughter's small hand. His little girl, Mila, wore a pink cardigan and carried a drawing she was excited to show her teacher. Ethan smiled down at her, though his eyes carried the quiet fatigue of a man who had learned to live with both love and loss. Life as a single dad wasn't easy, not after losing his wife 3 years ago. But tonight, at the parent-teacher meeting, he felt proud. Mila had done well. She was his reason to keep moving. What Ethan didn't know was that tonight, fate had prepared a surprise he never expected, one that would make his heart stumble between the past and a chance he thought he'd lost forever. Before we dive deeper, if you believe in kindness, forgiveness, and second chances, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Journal. Your support helps us spread more stories that touch hearts and remind us of love's beautiful surprises. As Ethan walked into the brightly lit school hall, the scent of chalk and paper mixed with coffee from the teacher's lounge. Children's artwork lined the walls, crayon hearts, stick families, and stars labeled with dreams. Mila's teacher, Miss Daniels, smiled warmly and gestured for him to take a seat while she talked with other parents. He sat down, brushing his calloused hands together, feeling slightly out of place among parents in suits and dresses. His old jeans and oil-stained boots told their own story, of long days of effort, of love paid in sweat rather than money. But none of that mattered when Mila's eyes shone with pride beside him. At the far end of the room, a woman in an elegant white blouse and black pencil skirt stood speaking to the principal. She carried herself with a calm confidence, the kind that came from years of success. Her dark hair, once wild and free, was now tied neatly into a low bun. She turned slightly, and the moment Ethan's gaze caught hers, his breath hitched. It couldn't be. But it was. Claire Bennett, his first love, his forever. What if, for a moment, the noise in the room blurred into silence? He remembered the way her laughter used to fill the air like sunlight. He remembered the night she left town to chase her dreams, leaving behind promises that time slowly faded. He'd let her go because he believed she deserved better. Someone who wasn't a broke small-town mechanic's son. And now here she was, radiant, successful, a woman who looked like she'd conquered the world. Claire blinked in disbelief as their eyes locked. Her polished smile faltered just slightly before returning. She excused herself from the principal and began walking toward him. Every step echoed like thunder in Ethan's chest. Mila tugged his sleeve and whispered, "Daddy, that lady is looking at you." When she reached him, her voice was soft, almost careful. "Ethan." He stood awkwardly. "Claire, wow. I didn't expect." He gestured vaguely around the classroom. "You're here for the meeting too." She smiled faintly. "Yes, my son Oliver is in Mila's class." The words hit him like a small miracle. Her son was in his daughter's class. All this time their kids had been learning, laughing, and drawing together, while neither of them knew they were bound by an old chapter still unfinished. The evening went on with polite small talk, but behind every word was the tremor of unspoken memory. Claire asked about his life, and he told her briefly that he ran a small auto shop in town, that it wasn't much but it paid the bills. He didn't mention the lonely nights or the ache of raising a child alone. She, on the other hand, was now the CEO of a growing design company, recently relocating to this town to slow down and be closer to family. When the meeting ended, the children ran off to play in the hallway while the parents packed up. Claire lingered. "It's really good to see you, Ethan," she said, her tone softening. "You look strong, like life tried to break you and failed." He smiled faintly. "It tried, but Mila keeps me standing." Something flickered in her eyes then, admiration, sadness, maybe even guilt. She remembered the boy who once dreamed of opening his own garage, the boy who had loved her with a kind of quiet devotion that made her feel safe. She had left to build a life of success, yet standing here now, surrounded by crayon drawings and laughter. She realized something painful. She had built everything except peace. The next morning, Mila came home from school bubbling with excitement. "Daddy, Oliver's mom said we can come to their house this weekend for a play date." Ethan froze mid-sip of his coffee. He wasn't sure how to feel. Old feelings were stirring again, and he wasn't ready for that. But Mila's joy was contagious, so he agreed. Claire's house was perched on a hill, sleek glass, clean lines, a modern masterpiece. Ethan parked his old pickup out front, feeling suddenly out of place again. Claire greeted them at the door in casual jeans and a sweater, barefoot, her hair down for the first time since he'd seen her. The tension melted a little as the kids ran off to play in the garden. Over coffee, Claire opened up more than he expected. She spoke of the loneliness behind her success, the exhaustion of leading a company where everyone saw her as a boss but no one saw her as a woman who once loved deeply and lost herself along the way. Ethan listened quietly, his rough hands wrapped around his mug. For the first time in years, someone looked at her. Really looked. Not as a CEO, but as the girl he once held under summer stars. As the days turned into weeks, the playdates continued. Sometimes Ethan helped Claire fix small things around the house. A squeaky door, a flickering light. Other times, they simply watched their kids draw chalk pictures on the driveway. It felt natural, almost like the universe was gently pulling them back into orbit. But the past has a way of whispering doubts. One rainy afternoon, Claire's driver stopped by Ethan's garage with her car. It needed urgent repair. His employees whispered among themselves, "That's the CEO of Bennett Designs?" And Ethan felt small again. That night, he told himself that people like her didn't belong in his world. He was just a man trying to survive while she ran empires. When Claire stopped by later to pick up her car, she sensed the distance in his tone. "Thin," she said softly, "don't shut me out again. Please." He looked away. "You don't need someone like me in your life, Claire. You're living in a different world now." She stepped closer. "You think success changed me, but it didn't. It just made me realize what I gave up, and that was you." The silence stretched long. Outside, rain began to fall again, the same way it had the night she left all those years ago. And just like that, old walls crumbled. Ethan exhaled a shaky breath, his voice trembling. "I was never angry, Claire. Just afraid that if I ever saw you again, I'd still love you." Tears welled in her eyes. "And do you?" He gave a faint, broken laugh. "I never stopped." From that night, something changed. Their connection deepened quietly, like roots spreading under the soil. They spent time not just as two parents, but as two souls rediscovering each other through the laughter of their children. Claire brought him lunches at the shop sometimes. He helped her fix things without being asked. Slowly, the town began to notice. The CEO and the mechanic, the woman of power and the man of heart. Still, one last storm remained. A rumor spread that Claire's company might be relocating again to New York. Ethan heard it from a customer and felt his chest tighten. When he asked her, she hesitated. "They want me back at headquarters," she admitted. "It's a big opportunity, but I haven't decided." He nodded, forcing a smile. "You should go. It's your dream." She stared at him, eyes glistening. "My dream changed." That night, Ethan found himself at the school auditorium, where the kids were performing a small play. Mila played a star, while Oliver was a brave knight. As the lights dimmed, Claire walked in beside him and whispered, "No matter where life takes us, I'm done running from what matters." When the children bowed to applause, she reached for his hand. It was a small gesture, but it carried the weight of every missed year, every unsaid word, every heartbeat that had waited patiently for this moment. After the show, under the golden glow of the hallway lights, Claire turned to him. "Ethan, I'm staying. I want to build something real, not with titles or business plans, but with you." He couldn't speak for a long time. Then, softly, he said, "Then maybe this time, we don't let go." Weeks later, they stood together at the park, watching Mila and Oliver chase each other in the sunlight. Claire leaned against him, no longer the distant CEO, but the woman who had found her way home. Life had broken them both once, him with loss, her with ambition. But somehow, love had found a way to stitch their wounds together again. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to Kindness Journal. Your support helps us keep bringing real, emotional stories that remind us it's never too late for love or forgiveness. And before you go, tell us in the comments below, do you believe that second chances can heal the heart? Because sometimes all it takes is one ordinary night to meet the love you thought you lost forever. 1720 words,